Philadelphia is amazing as far as restaurants. During any time of a restaurant, whether it's your highs or your lows, is that you stay true to the products. It's like, remember when we opened up, we had no clue what we were doing?
Hey, I'm Chef Maria, and you're watching Beyond the Table, where we talk food industry leadership.
I'm Chris Serviss of Blue Duck Philly, Blue Duck BYOB, and Blue Duck Center City.
So, how did you know that the time was right to open up your own spot?
I think for me personally, I didn't have the luxury or opportunity to work in a lot of really nice kitchens for a lot of really great chefs that this city has to offer for a lot of cooks that aspire to do their own thing and promote their own growth. So I think in our little part of the Northeast, I capped out what I could actually do in cooking in bars and small restaurants like that. And I figured it was time to give the community what I have to offer. I've already built a small little reputation for people used to eating my food, but there's guidelines of what I could order, what I wanted to push the envelope with, what I could sell to people, and I just was very fortunate enough for my partner Joe and I to just have beers one day, and he's really into food, so it just came to fruition after that. Somebody who's as passionate as I am. We're both from the neighborhood, so it was a perfect storm. Being as I never opened my own restaurant before or was part of an opening, I didn't really know what to expect. So from the get-go, it seemed really easy. Location, found it right away. The name, it was just came on a whim, hanging out, watching TV. And after that, I was like, oh, this is the easiest thing ever. Why don't more people open restaurants? Then, when actual budgeting, contracting, design, aesthetics, plate, flatware, everything, I was like, oh, holy hell.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 4 months ago when we were just hanging out. Small ideas came too, but I think everyone told me to be patient. I gathered as much information from those that I could that have done it, and they said patience. I was told don't do it when you have kids, which I couldn't go back on that. And everybody thought we were going to have this March opening, and then it turned into the end of September. So, using professionals is the most important thing to me because they know what they're doing. So that helped me along the way a lot. But going into it initially, there was so many more hoops to jump through than I ever imagined.
There is no go-to.
No, there's really not.
It's just dive in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Often people ask me for advice when I'm thinking about opening a small place or doing this. I think they're passionate about it, and that's key to being passionate because that's a driving force to get things done. But sometimes they're texting me like, hey Chris, I have this idea and I have my head buried in paperwork and a dishwasher called out and I want to shoot myself in the face, and my best advice at that moment is work for someone else because it's easier. But just the satisfaction of completing these projects, and I'm very happy that I can offer people jobs and stuff like that. So it's really important to me. We're a really tight community restaurant. The people are probably the most important thing. That's what has driven us for almost 3 years now. I was fortunate enough, my sous chef now is still with me, and he's going to be the CDC when we moved to Center City. He came with me, and that's right there. When you have somebody you can trust, that go-to, and I feel like a lot of restaurateurs or chefs that go on to open their own place, they have their one guy that makes life so much easier. So building off Tim, we've built a small crew. I still have a couple guys that are with me since we first opened. We're loyal to our employees, and we want that in return. And it's a weird personal little thing. When I was growing up in that neighborhood, I didn't have somewhere to cook this kind of food or use these kind of techniques. it was just like a paycheck for a lot of people, but now it's like an outlet for, schools, for kids in the neighborhood that goes to the culinary schools in the city, and that's really cool for me to like, all right, you can do your internship here, for whichever school you're going to. Travel does factor in a lot of things. That's why I never really had a job long term in the city. It's because between work and school, it's just hard for me to bounce back and forth. So it's a neat little side thing, Like I look at the younger kids that I've worked for me, I'm like, I wish I had this when I was, your age. If I find a certain ingredient I want to work with or a preparation, it's like, how much do I order? Because if I was serving this somewhere else, we'd sell out of it in, one seating. But I think we waited maybe 4 months before we actually did one raw preparation in the Northeast, because some people are just meat and potatoes people. So I took the idea of what I ate every day after school. My grandpa, took care of us after school, my sister and myself, while my mom was working, and my pop was always cooking, and it was always something different every night. We had his garden out back, which is a lot of cooks and chefs. They have that experience growing up, being in the kitchen with a family member. It was like every night we did something different. It would be like, a meatloaf, where we had taco night and stuff like that. So I took that idea and just applied some refinery to it and some different ingredients, and I thought that was the most approachable concept. I mean, we've been there for so long now, and my friends come in and they still won't try duck. My aunt won't try duck. It's like, come on, like, we comfy, you're not, and we put it on fries, you're not going to notice it, so just eat it. And we do the thing where parents don't tell the kids what it is, so there's still some hurdles getting over of getting people to try new things. I remember the first time we had an A5 Wagyu in, I was terrified of it, and I just wanted to cook it. It's such a beautiful piece of meat.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, who's going to pay $60 for this? So it took a while to get there. I'm very fortunate enough that we were received very well. So, I mean, sometimes I'll hear my servers explaining a dish, and people are like, I don't understand what you just said, but just give me it. Like, all right, just be open. We're not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You are our best interest because you are a customer. My heart of hearts, I'm a chef, and I want to cook what I want to cook. But I'm also the owner and a businessman, so I think it actually creates a great challenge to be a good chef within the concept of what you are going to sell. Your clientele, like, I like being able to satisfy myself, like what I personally want to make, how I want to cook things, but also finding the balance of what is approachable for the consumer. There's days where I'll have a beautiful fish and we'll sell one of them, and I'm just like, how, this is such a nice dish. It's so well thought out and it looks beautiful. And then, I don't know, it's just tough. I try to find that challenge to, all right, what can I make that appeases myself? And, it may not be what someone's used to, but we're going to sell a lot of it. It's a tough balance. I mean, especially when you have food costs and margins that you're trying to meet. So it's a bit of a struggle, but I try to look at it as a task, though, a challenge. I think the most important thing during any time of a restaurant, whether it's your highs or your lows, is that you stay true to the products, because people can tell. So it's important for me to do those things. Sometimes I shoot myself in the foot with it, but we do so many specials at the restaurant to never have to commit to something on the menu to have in all the time. I mean, maybe we run it for 2 days, maybe we run it for 2 hours, depending on how it goes, how well people receive it. So there's times where I'll sacrifice my margins. Like, it goes back to your last question. I'll kind of just throw that out the window to do something nice, as long as I don't make a little bit of money on it, as long as I don't lose money. Like, I'm fortunate enough to be the chef and owner, so some days I can be like, fuck this, I want this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get this in, I want to cook this. we're not going to lose money, and I'm going to be the one cooking it, so I'm going to have some fun with it. And it offers experience for somebody who may have never had, this protein or this fish. So, I mean, it's like a whirlwind of thoughts that I have going through my head. It's probably not the best business model. Some days I like to have fun. I like to make money, but also my passion is cooking. I can usually do that without making money, be happy, so it varies, but ultimately that's what it is. Anyone who operates a BYOB will tell you how food driven it needs to be. You can't have a BYOB with bad food. Not if you our expectancy of our quality and where I see us on par with every other restaurant in the city, at least all the good ones, like our food could never miss. Because it doesn't matter if you paid $3 to bring in a bottle of $15 wine. You're gonna drink that wine no matter what, but you're gonna remember that meal. It's really important. The expectancy of me being there all the time is, that's a thing with the BYOs. I learned that from some BYO owners in the city. I try to do it as well as we can, and I mean, everyone I believe takes inspiration from so many different places. I get inspiration from all the great chefs in the city all the time, and I kind of just try to apply it to what I do. And I imagine maybe somebody does the same with what I'm doing and applies himself to it. I mean, it comes from everywhere. Seasons, just a good piece of fish. It's get inspired by the little things, but I feel like everybody at some point looks and sees someone doing something and they're like, wow, that's awesome. Like, how can I do it? How can I take that and do it my way? And that's what I try to do. I mean, I do the things that I do on an everyday basis, but I also have so many amazing, talented friends, and I see what they're doing, and I'm like, shit, that's so cool. Like, how can we work that into the duck concept of that, like, casual, like, that's just so beautiful and refined. Like, how can I do it, like, that homey type of way? So, yeah. I think that's the best part of this industry, is that you can never really stop reinventing yourself and learning. And everybody knows that. And there's so many people that just do so many cool things. It's hard not to get inspired and excited about food. I don't know what necessarily made me able to deal with stress as well as I do. But I mean, I've come to learn of restaurant ownership. I'm being a chef, just running the kitchen every day, operations, like, there's always something. There's literally always something. I do not wake up anymore expecting the day to go smoothly. I'm just like, all right, who's over today? Whether it's a purveyor being late, someone calling out, a server just did this. There's always something. So I think I wake up every day with an open mind to the possibility of something going wrong, and then I'm just pleasantly surprised when the day goes smooth. Personally, I look back on how things started, and I think we literally just had this conversation the other day, my partner Joe and myself. Like, oh, we've run so much more efficiently now. He's like, we're talking about opening the second place and, how things are different, what we need to learn for that going forward. He's like, remember when we opened up, we had no fucking clue what we were doing? I was like, yep. It's like, there was just a lot of people here. We didn't know how to, we learned through running the business. So I think, looking back, I wish I had more knowledge of how to do everything right. I mean, I don't know if it's just good product and popularity that carried us through times where I could have been making a whole lot more money. I service food, things like that were always on par to where we needed them to be. I think it took me a while to learn to manage money better. I think it took me a slow summer month to realize how important our food margins were and our labor was. So going back to that is probably my biggest thing, is just knowing how to run a business properly, and you can never really fully know that. Chris Serviss of Blue Duck Philly, and soon to be Blue Duck Washington Square West, coming 2017 of this year. Check us out. Always keep look at our Instagram at Blue Duck Philly, see what food we're cooking and see what developments we have going for the new place.
Thanks for watching Beyond the Table. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel and Instagram on Cooks Who Care.